Hey, what is going on, guys? It's Farah, welcome back, and in today's video we will be taking a look at kind of every Nat 3 in the game just to see who's actually good. Most of these families are, just all 5 of them are pretty bad typically. And there are some niche units that I'm sure that everyone has heard about that people say, oh, it's good for this team and that team. That's pretty much all I'm going to say for the unit, is if it's, it's good for, this specific area of content, maybe late game, maybe it's better early game, different things, maybe, if it used to be used and it's really not anymore, stuff like that. So I'm going to try to get through this pretty fast, though, because there's a decent amount of them, and there's, obviously 5 each, so. Of the fairies, the only one that's really built is Lukasza here for RTA. She used to be, or she could potentially still be used with Katarina, but if you have Kabezanu for the Water Horus, he's just a better option. She can be useful. She's a little strange. I would, this is really the only one that most people are really ever going to build, realistically, and that's more late game, end game kind of stuff there. Lukasza used to be great, actually, for Necropolis, because she has all the multi-hits, but not so much anymore. None of these are amazing, other than this one. Realistically, this is the only harpu, in the modern era you'd build. She has 120 base speed when awakened. She increases the attack bar of all allies by 30% and decreases the chance of being hit by a critical hit by 50%. So she's very, very useful for arena offense. That's the only place you can use her, really. I should say this one can be useful in speed teams too. Like before someone is like, I've seen that on the leaderboard. Like, yeah, you can use this in very specific teams when you are super endgame, though. These are pretty much all good. I mean, literally, even the wind one is great for giants early on. Not that I would go out of the way to build him, but they're all good. Everyone that knows this entire family is pretty good. These two have kind of fallen out. Wind and light. Light, Bella Diana is still decent. But Crow, Akaru, and Ralk they're always going to be in the game. The salamanders are just bad. The serpents, the dark and the water ones can be useful for some of the TOA aspects of them, reducing attack bar. This one does dots, I think, too. So Mantura is probably the best out of all of them, but Shylock can be used for dragons. There's just a lot of other stuff in the modern era that, like, it's kind of funny I say the modern era. This game's only 8 years old, but, like, it's changed so much. But Mantora you could build for TOA, but there's a lot of other things that you could even get away with, just not building Mantora ever. The golems are pretty bad. The reflect damage seems cool in Necropolis when it kills your Lucian, but in practice, for you, it's not going to work. He used to be used for actually farming the Hell mode on Shakur Remains or Takur, whatever the last place on the scenario map is. People would put him on Vampire and he'd do Hell mode. Solo it. That's a complete waste of your time. I don't know why people were doing it back then. Yeah, this one, you're definitely in the end game if you want to build him. And there's just better stuff, I think, than him too. So I wouldn't worry about any of the golems. Spectra is always going to be great. Second Awakened here, definitely a great unit. Does a lot of utility. He is used for, like, world boss stuff. Again, that's like super endgame. Don't worry about that. Bernard is great. You don't have to Second Awaken Bernard. I don't even have him skilled up. If I don't win in the first turn, I typically don't win. If I run a Bernard Kona Lucian team, so yeah, Shaman is fantastic for Necropolis. He's, that's his place to shine. And Varus is used in Arena, I think typically on the Japanese server or the EU server. I think they've kind of played with him a lot. The global server, most players haven't really seen Varus, but he can do some things. You should watch separate videos on that, because I'm not even really sure what he does and why he works so well. These are pretty much all useless, I think. This one can be useful. I think this is the biggest attack bar fill in the game for all allies, and then increases their critical rate as well. He could be useful for something. I don't know. If you want him to be your attack bar booster, you can just do that. But Bernard, Kabila, Bastet are all better options, in my opinion. Moving on to these. So these are pretty late, like late game or end game stuff that you would build. Kali you can use in a lot more areas of the game than the other four. But I know that she ignores defense, and she ignores defense, and then obviously Kali does as well. But Kali just has the great buffs for your team too. So Kali is definitely something I would pick up and play with a little bit, maybe closer to late game. You could build her for the Fire Rift, or not the Fire Rift Beast, the Wind Rift Beast. She's pretty cool for a great free-to-play option there. I'll be building her eventually myself. They're all bad. Ashir is insane for like the Special League RTA. He's pretty decent for just RTA and Arena in general if you want to run him. Jultan is very good too. Super tank, just as much HP as you can, and some speed on there too. And he'll be doing reflecting damage when he gets crit on, I think. Yeah, when he gets crit on. Vigor's fantastic. I've built 2 of him now. Well, I've built 1. I have the other one, I think 6-starred though, as well, or something. Anyway, he's a great unit. I've talked about him before. I don't want to go too deep into the kits for most of this stuff. These are all bad. These 2 are used. He's for BJR5. He is for a very specific solo R5 team. These are, other than Lyn, and Lyn is pretty much fallen out of the meta, I think. If you can still run her, if you ever built anyway, you're probably already late game, and you would know that it works for your particular account, but there's just tons of different options now. Mara has the ability, the enemy cannot be revived when killed with this skill, so she's a niche endgame unit as well. The other 3 are, I think, pretty much just crap, though. I wouldn't build them. I mean, you can build her for Dragons, B12, there's faster teams. I guess you could build her for TOA too, but I just wouldn't worry. I wouldn't waste the time. I considered building her, and it never happened. The Martial Cats, Mina here, very fast, 119 base speed, and then 119 base speed for Miho. Those are the 2 usable Martial Cats. They're fantastic. Miho is, RNG based, but very irritating to deal with. So I'm excited to build mine. These 2 are good. I wouldn't waste the time Second Awakening these ones. I have not seen any practical use for them. They pretty much just get smoked out. At least I smoke them out. I don't have any problem with them, but Jubel I like a lot. Great provoke, breaking defense, getting extra attack bar for himself when he's getting crit on, decreases damage he's taking with the skill. This is where he gets the extra, decreases your cooldown. Oh, here it is. Yeah, okay, so yeah, I was waiting to see where the attack bar increase was, but yeah, he gets decreases cooldown, and he's not going to get crit on. He's a great unit. Darian, we all know where he goes. He goes into a beginner Rift Raid team. Haven't seen a whole lot of use for him outside of that. He can be useful for some niche arena teams if you'd like him to be. Maybe a light team you have worked out, but Jubel is definitely the best one in there. Out of these, this one is pretty good. Bethany is great for Rift Raid. I mean, I figure Chris could be great as well, but Bethany is the one that's typically used because she can ignore defense, I thought. Yeah, she ignores defense. Increases the chance by 20% for each beneficial effect granted on yourself. So she's good. This one doesn't quite do the same thing, but yeah, she's useful. I'm considering building her. Actually, like, Ardella's pretty decent too. This is kind of a strange family. They're all good for Rift Beasts, now that I'm thinking about it. They all have their particular uses in there. But outside of Rift Beasts, I've never seen them used anywhere else, just to be honest. Randy can be useful for Copper Bulldozer. Amesity is simply better. I would say he's the second best. I feel like he's better than Olivia and Emma, the Neostone fighters. He can be good. He's got, a good leader skill too for guild battles. You are Wayne. Wayne can be used too. He's an attack bar fill as well. These two can be used. I would look into more specific content if you like the kit. If you're reading through the kit and you really like what you see, like, he can be good for R5 stuff, solo R5 teams. I would just read the bounty hunter skills a little more closely and see if it's something that you think you could actually use, and then looking up a specific YouTube video about it, or on Reddit or Discord or something. By the way, I'm starting a Discord. I've been putting it together really slowly over the last week, but I intend to get that out. Yaku is the only imp champion that's ever used because of his RNG ignoring defense. Otherwise, they're not useful. Now that these are second awakened, it didn't really change anything. Megan is still useful, and Linda can be useful now too. You know, yeah, I feel like Linda's probably the best for TOA, and then this one is great too. The other three, I don't know that there's any real reason to build any of these. I mean, this one attacks all enemies 4 times, so that's kind of cool, and this one, I don't know if this is even an attacking skill. I wouldn't worry too much about these. Even the light one, I'd probably just build a Megan if you really want to for arena. The other stuff would be, you know, super later on if you wanted to. And Linda, like, she looked amazing for TOA when she came out, but I don't know that anyone's actually using her. Like, there's so many different options for TOA too that I would hate for someone to spend a week and a half in the second awakening dungeons getting her, and then she just is in storage for the rest of the remainder of the time that you're playing the game. So Soth, obviously great for the dot team. The rest of them, all great for TOA. These two especially great for TOA. I think this one's great too. The wind one is probably the most useless one. If you know, I just wouldn't build the wind one. But these 3 though are all TOA units, and then obviously dot team again. He's good in TOA too, though. Honestly, I haven't built any of the other ones. I just use him in TOA, and it seems to work out fine. Copper is great for obvious reasons, and Zinc is also a great unit too. He brings a lot of stuff in here. He can be useful in Steel Fortress if you needed him there, because he can block beneficial effects, but he really does a lot of stuff in TOA. If you need some of these things, decreasing defense, decreasing attack, blocking beneficial effects, he can be a massive help. Like, this is great against Renas, the water Epicon priest, so don't sleep on Zinc. These are very strange. The Drunken Masters, their skills are completely bizarre. Some of them do healing, some of them, you know, attack bar increase, they do buffing, they do decreasing defense, recovering HP of all allies. They have guild leader skills. They're very strange, though. They're more meme. I feel like if you're running one of them, you're trying to bait someone into attacking you, and you have pretty high quality runes on them to make them do the weird stuff. I want to build these two, the wind and the water one. I don't know if they're good though, because they're not like any other unit, and they have the chance to ignore enemy defense on the first skill, which is very, very cool. Like, that's a very strong ability to have. So I would recommend probably keeping some of these as food for stuff. The Minotaurs are bad. Lizardmen are bad. These two are the 3 stars. I don't know that they're useful for anything. You guys have seen this one in TOA next to Sigmaris's. You know, if you're having trouble beating them, you know, just play for another month. That's about all I can say, because I don't think they're that amazing. The Beast Hunters, I think, are useless. I thought one of them ignored defense. This one ignores all damage reduction effects. They all do, don't they? Yeah, so their first skill ignores all damage reduction effects. So you can have some pretty weird stuff in here with these. I feel like this is more of a late game fun thing to do. You know, focusing on a lot of these units is probably just bad. Even the ones that I'm saying could be late game stuff, leave it for late game. Like, there's no reason to do it and halt your progression, because you might not even be able to use them. The Penguin Knights here, Mav is great. Otherwise, I wouldn't waste any time with any of the rest of them. These are not amazing. Basalt used to be really, you know, a TOA monster. People would say, you know, oh, if you get him, that's amazing. You didn't hack shit, guys. Like, you know, 5 years ago, if you got Basalt and you were like, oh, I'm going to build him for TOA, you probably didn't build him for TOA. Like, you know, everyone really was saying he's great, but even 5 years ago, before the homunculuses were even out, the water homunculus, there was still ways to be TOA hard, and ways that were just more efficient, in my opinion, to be a TOA hard than running a Basalt. The Cowgirls are, you know, nobody plays with them because you have to buy them. Not with money. Obviously, you just get them from the guild shop. This one I've seen played once, I think. Rides a Typhoon to attack all enemies. Crit hits will decrease the target's attack bar by 15%. So I think she can be useful. Otherwise, I haven't seen a whole lot out of this. This one was a reward back in 2014 before any of the other 4 came out. But Lauren is fantastic. Everyone knows Lauren is fantastic. Charter Sharks are crap. The only martial artist I would even consider building is this one, because he is immune to defense decreasing. Yeah, he's immune, gains immunity against defense decreasing effects. So I think he's actually pretty potentially good. I've never seen anyone use him. He's another one that I want to build, but I'm not going to recommend stuff that I don't know if it's good or not. The mummies used to be part of some meme teams. I don't think they're worth building, any of them. Frank, he's great. Bulldozer's great. Tractor's great. Nobody really talks about these ones, but the LDs might have some potential. I don't care to read through the skills and find out, because when you have this here and it's immune to defense decreasing effects, I'm pretty happy with just the Tractor and the Bulldozer. Like, you know, but if you wanted to build these, they could be good. It's even if they were, I wouldn't build them, because you already have 2 other ones you're building anyway. You kind of want to diversify your box. This is good for TOA. I thought I was going to build him, and then I still didn't build him, even for TOA. I just didn't care to get it done. This one's pretty irritating, actually. It'll counterattack, but it's more irritating in TOA than it is in practice. Going against it in an arena, typically you don't have a problem. It's kind of a wasted space. You know, if you think... that's kind of another thing I should say. If you think it looks good because of what you've seen it do to your team in TOA, just as a disclaimer, I should have said this at the start of the video, it does not mean that the unit is good. The unit could still be pretty bad. The Harg here, Raviti's great. Raviti is actually fantastic. A really good unit. I've seen Remy get played too. I would say Raviti's the best out of them, though. Even these ones, like Rakuni is great. Raviti's good too, but Rakuni is quite good. Yeah, it gets resistance too. Decent base speed, and so yeah, Rakuni's solid. These ones just aren't used flat out. Skogul is really the only one in here that's ever used. I've seen these ones before, but I think that Skogul is just the best, and he's a 4-star anyway. So these 3 stars are only food for the other 3. There are some that were not in there because their fire counterparts are 4 stars. So let's look through here real quick and just see what was missed. The War Bears I must have missed. The 3-star options, he is just for solo R5. Rena here is crazy annoying. She can be useful for an arena defense, just stalling people out. If you don't have a lot of great bruiser options, or just, you know, if you had pretty bad luck getting good arena defense monsters, you could build her, but for the most part you probably just aren't. I mean, you could even use her in a guild battle team and be pretty annoying there, like in World Guild Battle or something, or Siege, because she could be useful for Siege. Yeah, there's she used to be more played though. She's not bad, but she doesn't do a ton. Anything left though? I think that was all of those. I might have a Wind 3-star here that I didn't look into. I don't think so, though. I think I got all of them. Yeah, so I believe that I got all of them. I'll check the Second Awakenings here just to make sure, but yeah, I think I went through all the 3 stars. So yeah, if there was anything that you guys disagreed with, definitely leave a comment down below. You know, most of the units I talked about were like, it's like an endgame thing. A lot of the really useful monsters in the game, guys, are just already known. Like, a lot of the good 3 stars are already out there. So I feel like the only thing new that I could add here for, you know, newer players was these could be useful much later on down the line. And don't get discouraged by that, like that there isn't a wide pool of things that are really great, because realistically you can make a team with anything that you want. You don't have to follow anything that anyone else is doing. It's just that a lot of what's already talked about is what is the fastest and most efficient. So feel free to build anything that you want, but this was just a quick rundown of what I think is actually useful. So anyway, that's all for this one, and I'll see everybody next time.